What's up everybody, welcome to Mike Zuniga Films. In this video, we're going to be going over the Panasonic GH4 and why I think this is still a great all-around camera for the filmmaker today. Okay, before we start this video, don't forget to hit that notification bell to stay notified on my upcoming videos. All right, let's get right into it. I've been using this camera for about 3 or 4 years now, and it's great. I love it. The reason why is because it's compact, it's light, and I'm able to travel with it whenever I want to. Another great feature about this camera is that it's able to shoot in 4K, and even with its size, the 4K quality is awesome. It also films at ultra high definition, 1080, at up to 96 frames per second. So I usually film at 60 frames per second with this camera if I want to get slow motion. So I have filmed up to 96 frames per second with this camera, and I have to say, I was still impressed by the quality. So when it comes to color, under its photo style option, you can choose Cine Like D. Now, what this means is you're able to shoot your video at a flat image. And what this allows you to do is that when you're editing the footage in post, you're able to really bring out the colors, really play around with the colors and make them pop. If you were to film just in its standard settings, you wouldn't have that much room to really edit the colors, really play around with the colors and make it look as cinematic as possible. So this feature, Cine Like D feature, when it allows you to film as a flat image, you're able to make your footage, your videos look more cinematic in coloring. Okay, so when it comes to memory cards, I usually use the SanDisk Extreme Pro, 128 gigs, 95 megabytes per second. The reason why I use that is because I usually shoot a lot of interviews and I need a lot of space for the memory card. Sometimes I can get away with 64 gigs, but it all depends on what you're filming. So another great feature about this camera is that it has a flip out screen, and this comes in handy. It not only flips out like that, but it's able to turn this way, move around to different types of angles. The battery life in this camera lasts a long time. I've filmed interviews using one battery and it's lasted for probably 2 hours or more just on one battery alone, and that is awesome because I don't really have to bring that many extra batteries for this camera. There's other cameras that I've used, I have to pack a lot of extra batteries just because one battery drains in a short period of time. So when it comes to focus on your camera, obviously when you have a native lens, you're able to achieve good autofocus. So right now on this camera, I have the Panasonic GX Vario lens. This is the 12 to 35 millimeter f2.8, and this is basically the lens that I use for majority of my shoots when I'm filming with this camera. It's very versatile. I'm able to get the wide shots that I need, but I'm also able to get the close-up shots I need as well. I would say I probably film manually with this camera 95% of the time. It has a peaking feature, which allows me to really see what's in focus and what's not in focus. And also, when I move the focus ring, it automatically has a zoom in feature, allowing me to really fine-tune my focus on whoever or whatever I'm filming. So when it comes to time lapses, this camera has a built-in time lapse feature. This is really helpful because when I'm in a run and gun situation and I really need to get time lapses, all I have to do is just turn the knob, dial in my settings, and I'm good to go. And then I just press the shutter button and it creates a time lapse in terms of how many pictures I would like and in terms of what the interval between each picture is. So it really makes filming time lapses a breeze. So another good thing about this camera is that it has built-in stabilization. So I don't really have to use my camera stabilizer a lot of the time. Sometimes I can get away with just filming handheld and the image is stable. There's rarely any shakiness when it comes to filming with this camera and lens. So I would say some downsides to this camera is that it's not the best in low light. I usually film at an ISO of 400 and I keep it that way. I rarely go up to 800 and sometimes I go down to 200 if I'm outside. Another feature that is probably not the best is the autofocus. Autofocus is good. It's not the best compared to other cameras, but it still does the job. So another downside with this camera is that when I'm filming slow motion at a variable frame rate, it doesn't record audio. So that's just one thing you have to be aware when filming slow motion with this camera and switching back and forth between your regular 24 frames per second and slow motion. So with that being said, if you're looking for a great all-around camera and want to get some cool cinematic shots, this Panasonic GH4 is the way to go. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you found this content to be helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.